The convicted felon, Donald Trump, failed businessman, failed at everything he's ever touched, is now taking it to the U.S. economy. And the absolute epic meltdown that he is having because of his policies, it's unbelievable, the lack of accountability. Here he is when asked about the economy at the cabinet meeting.
GDP, and this is, you probably saw some numbers today. And I have to start off by saying that's Biden. That's not Trump, because we came in on January. This is the quarterly numbers. And we came in, and I was very against everything that Biden was doing in terms of the economy, destroying our country in so many ways, not only at the border. The border was more obvious.
Okay, I just have to interject. Biden deported more people than Trump as of right now, today, at less money. And regarding the economy, these are lies, and he lives in fantasy land. And just once, I would like for the President of the United States to take accountability and say, maybe I should have consulted experts on the economy. Maybe I should have looked at how the tariffs would affect both trade internationally, nationally. I could see how the global economy would look instead of be a short-sighted, impulsive dipshit. So I just want to remind everybody, these are two separate truth/lie social posts regarding the economy. And let's look at the dates and let's look at what he says to prove that this man lies. Okay, this is on January 29th, 2024. This is the Trump stock market. Because my polls against Biden are so good that investors are projecting that I will win, and that will drive up the market. Everything else is terrible. Watch the Middle East, and record-setting inflation has already taken its toll on America. Make America great again. Okay, that's 1 year before he got in office. And I might remind you that every time the stock market went up, or we had good jobs numbers, he would say, oh, it's because people think I'm going to be in office. He says it right here. This is the Trump stock market 1 year before he's in office. Okay. Flash forward to April 30th, 2025. This is Biden's stock market, not Trump's. I didn't take over until January 20th. Tariffs will start kicking in soon. No, they're kicking in. That's why the economy is turning to shit. That's why we're having contraction in the economy. Tariffs will start kicking in, and companies are starting to move into the U.S. in record numbers. Okay, he keeps saying companies are moving into the U.S. You have to remember, let's say that a company comes into the United States to build a factory, to train employees, to get it up to speed. We're talking years. This is not going to happen like by the end of May 2025. This is years. Our country will boom, but we have to get rid of the Biden overhang. Should be hangover, but whatever. This will take a while. Has nothing to do with tariffs, only that he has left us with bad numbers. But when the boom begins, it will be like no other. Be patient. Okay, I want to remind everybody that the Wall Street Journal said October of 2024, right before the election, whoever wins the presidential election will inherit the world's strongest economy. All Trump had to do was get in there and sell his knickknacks. But no, he has to wreck everything so he can make this an authoritarian government. It is absolutely ridiculous. And the people that were bitching about the price of eggs, which are up, they are now saying, oh, well, be a patriot, be patient. You're billionaires. The whole cabinet is billionaires, so they can afford to be patient. Regular Americans cannot. Then we have at the cabinet meeting, I mean, it was so cringy to watch. Putin and Kim Jong-un blushed because it was so fake and so riddled with non-realistic ass kissing that it really was. It was cringy and uncomfortable. Like, gave everybody who watched it the ick. Starting us off on that is Pam Bondi, who is just the absolute biggest liar, hypocrite, should be impeached right after Trump, right after Hegseth. She ought to be third in line, but it's like 1A, 1B. So here's Pam Bondi with just her admiration.
400 kilos of fentanyl since you've been your last 100 days, which saved, are you ready for this, media, 258 million lives.
Okay. Okay, here's the deal. 258 million lives. The United States of America has 330 citizens. So according to Pam Bondi, Trump in the first 100 days saved almost 3/4 of the U.S. population. That is the dumbest, most easily fact-checked, unhelpful information. Mind you, not very far back in the past, you said it was like 195 million. So we've gone from over half to now 3/4 that he has saved in 100 days because of fentanyl. That is the biggest bunch of horseshit, bullshit garbage I have ever heard. And people suffer from addiction. I've suffered. Everybody in my family, people in everyone's family have suffered. And this is not helpful. This is lies, and it's ass kissing to a degree that is gross. Not to be outdone, Howard Lutnick on the gold cards.
I mean, it makes me very popular. Last night, I was out to dinner, and someone came up and said, can I buy 10? And how do I buy 10? And I'm like, that's pretty good. It's $50 million for dinner. So, I was paying for my dinner.
First of all, his net worth, I think, is $3.9 billion. And when you're talking about people paying $50 million to be a U.S. citizen, you're not talking any process. You're not talking any background checks. You're like, here's $5 million. I want to be a U.S. citizen. The anti-immigrant crowd is so happy to take this money for these Trump gold cards, oligarchs, Saudis that probably shouldn't be here. I mean, it's unbelievable, the depths of corruption. And what's so interesting about it, he says, it bought my dinner. Nobody needs to buy your dinner. But where does this money go? Let's assume Donald Trump sells all these gold cards. Is he ever going to show us with any type of transparency? Where does the money go? Who collects the money? And is there going to be any kind of background and processing on these people that are automatically citizens for $5 million? I mean, this is one of the worst ideas you could ever think of. Then we have Trump talking about how he is the thought police. He will tell Americans how to think, what to believe. Here he is in all his glory.
And it's very serious.
Where are these people coming from?
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
sir. We pulled back their grants because Harvard isn't responding to us criminal activity by their students. And until
Christy
they get
Nome,
to
who's
that
a
list, they're not
dipshit's
getting any more
talking.
grants from Homeland
Good.
Security.
I think we should pull it back. The students they have, the professors they have, the attitude they have is not American. And I think you should. A grant is a grant. We don't have to give grants.
Okay, here we go. First of all, it's not American. This is a man that humps American flags, talks about Hannibal Lecter, demonizes people, rips people off the street, and sends them to concentration camps in other countries, El Salvador being one. He does not give them due process. That is not American. He ignores court orders. That is not American. Selling citizenship is not American. So I am so tired of this is not America horseshit, because he is telling you, I'm going to control what you think, what you teach, how you behave. This is called authoritarianism. It is terrifying, the lengths that he will go to, and he's not even trying to hide it. He is, the whole right-wing media echo chamber, the White House press secretary, it's all propaganda. I mean, propaganda to the nth degree, and we have to be on high alert. And that is why Jen and I use Ground News. Ground News takes stories. It tells you who wrote them, who owns the publication, what's the level of factual information contained in those articles. Is it high fact, low fact? It also gives you all the information you need regarding what's the right hearing and seeing, what are their talking points, what's the left talking about and seeing, and what are the blind spots of the other two. All that information is aggregated for you by Ground News, and that is so important because we all have agency over our votes and we have agency over our knowledge. So please join Jen and I in this invaluable tool to keep yourself fact-based and in reality when there's so much propaganda. Join us by giving giving groundnews.com/IHIP to get 40% off Ground News Vantage plan that we use every day. By subscribing, you're not only getting a tool we all need today, you are also supporting our work. That's Ground, GROUND, news.com/IHIP. This is so important. We've pinned the link in the show notes. Please look into this. It's important that we all stay fact-based news. So Trump calls in last night to news forum, and Bill O'Reilly, who I thought he was canceled long ago, but whatever, he asks him a few questions, and you can tell, I mean, Trump is just not, he does not live in reality. He thinks that the tariffs are not creating the global economy issues, the economic recession in the United States. He thinks that's Biden's fault. He thinks that he's so popular, and anything that says he's not is fake news, and he hasn't done anything wrong. But let's hear it from the horse turd's mouth.
Studio audience question from Lee Shapiro. Lee's a tough guy. Lee says, what's the biggest mistake you think you've made in the first 100 days?
I'll tell you, that's the toughest question I can have, because I don't really believe I've made mistakes.
You made any mistakes?
We're in a transition period.
Are you kidding me? You have shipped people without due process to concentration camps. Cut me some slack. Okay, and here, any criticism of dear leader, remember, that's not tolerated. Here we go.
Okay, so a series of rough polls this week, and I'm wondering how you process that. Does it hurt your feelings when you see numbers come in that are not what you'd like them to be?
Well, first of all, they're fake polls. And if you take a look at the polls.
This man does not live in reality. He is not competent. And you know who agrees with me? Dan Goldman, because this is what he said on Fox News.
If you disagree, Congressman, and clearly you do with much of the president, the competency of the sitting president today, I think the accuracy and truth of those words do matter.
Well, I don't think he's competent, Will. I don't know what to tell you. Whether his cognitive abilities are sufficient to get past the 25th Amendment, you know, we don't know that right now. But I think what is clear is that he has driven our country into a disastrous economy. He has undermining the fundamental rule of law and democracy. He is taking away benefits in order to cut taxes for the rich. I think even you, Will, would have to agree with me that this first 100 days is not at all what he promised the American people.
Good for Dan Goldman to go on Fox News, because those people might not get any other truth than that. And here's the deal. The economy's crashing. The GDP is contracting. Prices are going up. Shelves are getting ready to be empty. And Fox News is talking about Biden's competency. Biden's not the president. Quit talking about it. And just one other real uplifting thing I want to leave you with, because we all need to be on high alert. This is a tweet from Eric Swalwell, and it says, "You won't believe this. Republicans just voted in the House Judiciary Committee to allow Trump to deport U.S. citizens to a foreign country." We need to be on high alert. We need to organize. We need to call our congressmen. We need to boycott appropriate products. So, you know, Fortune 500 companies and billionaires start feeling this, and they put pressure on Republicans. This man is not competent. He is a criminal. He is an authoritarian, and this must not stand. We need to band together. Stick with us. We're trying to get to 1 million subscribers.